Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amber Roche and today I'm doing the next video that you guys requested on the poll, which was anxiety tips. So I've got 10 anxiety tips for you. Now these tips obviously worked for me, so a bit of background: I obviously since the age of 13 went through severe anxiety, depression and eating disorders. So obviously I learned many different techniques and things along the way. Some work, some don't. Now obviously these 10 I'm going to tell you kind of work for me, the ones I've always kind of kept and used. They may or may not work for you, or some will, but obviously I'm just kind of giving you a bit of background as how they kind of help for me. You know, I had really bad anxiety and I'd had panic attacks to the point where, you know, my whole body would shake uncontrollably and I couldn't deal with it, and I didn't know what to do. You know, I'd have the ambulance turn up and come look after me. Couldn't walk into the school, and I'd only go to school 3 half days a week and things. So it was a really hard time, and until I could kind of build it up and beat my anxiety, these kind of techniques really helped me. So yeah, basically this is what I'm going to talk about, is these kind of 10 techniques that help me, and hopefully they obviously kind of do help you, or maybe you even use some of these as well. So, number one, first tip is stress balls, and a lot of people use stress balls and they're great. And the reason that I kind of used it and it helped with my anxiety is when I was quite anxious, what I would actually do is I always rubbed my hands and I'd start moving my hands. The problem with this is I'd go to the point that my whole hands would end up really red and kind of like a burnt look. So it wasn't very helpful. So obviously my counsellor gave me a stress ball. Everyone likes different kinds of stress balls. Me personally, I like the more kind of squidgy kind of like with the corn flour mixture. Some people like the really foam kind of ones. I did have a foam one and ended up ripping it to pieces, so that wasn't helpful. Some people like the rice. So I mean, there's all different textures, and you really need to find the one that you enjoy, because that's the texture that'll really kind of take your mind off it, and it's something to kind of play with, especially when you are anxious in a situation. But you can also put your mind to feeling what you're feeling in the stress ball and really focusing on that, to try calm yourself down as well. So stress balls is number one. Number two is the classic deep breaths. Now I used to always hear it from my counsellors and I was like, deep breaths, like it's not as easy as that. However, it is a technique as much as people say it, and it does take time to be able to do it and get used to it. But it would be times when I would start having my panic attack and I was in the midst of it and I had no idea how to handle it. My whole body was shaking uncontrollably. When I learned to be able to slowly do the deep breaths, it was a matter of honestly closing my eyes and really focusing on breathing in for 3 seconds and breathing out through my mouth for 3 seconds, and doing that constantly, and without even realizing that slows your whole body kind of down. It kind of slowly got my shakes away for me to be able to focus and figure out what to do next, and help me kind of you know, get out of that kind of situation that I was in that panic mode. So deep breath is huge, and even if you're going into somewhere and you're panicking, it's literally standing outside that door or wherever you are, and just to yourself or in your car, and just close your eyes and do those deep breaths, and it really kind of puts you in a really calm state. So that really helped me. Next is number 3 and number 4, and they kind of mix in together. So 3 and 4 is basically standing up and getting yourself out of the situation, so walking away. And then mixture of kind of number 4 is imagining yourself in a different place. So a lot of the times I honestly would suggest, especially in the beginning until you do grasp all the other kind of techniques with your anxiety, is get yourself out of that situation. There was a lot of times that I would be at a party or in school or something like that, and for me, I couldn't sit there. I didn't have the strength yet to be able to handle it. So it was literally, I cannot stress it enough, get up and walk away. Go somewhere else, go to the bathroom, go outside for fresh air, just walk away, get yourself out of that situation, or go into your car or wherever you are, just get out. Once you're out of the situation, then, and the best thing next that I would do is obviously close my eyes, or you can have your eyes open, but imagine yourself somewhere else. So everyone has different places that you know that make you feel calm. Pick somewhere that is like one of your favorite places that make you smile or feel calm, or when you imagine it just gives you that really good feeling. And I would have said it previously on one of my videos, for me, which also helped my depression, was imagining crashing waves and beaches. So I'd literally get out wherever I was and then kind of just close my eyes and relax and imagine myself at the beach, and instantly, without even realizing, I thought I was there. I could see the waves, I could feel it crashing, I could, you know, feel the kind of wind on me, and no, I wasn't there, but it calmed me down and kind of brought me back. So when I kind of opened my eyes, it's like I was a little bit more calmer and I could focus on what I was going to do next, or where I was going to go, or how I was going to handle it. So that's a huge thing, especially in the beginning. As time goes on, of course, I wanted to try to beat my anxiety and not let it always control me, and walking away from situations. But until I got to that stage with the strength, that was the first best kind of part, is just get yourself out of it, and get yourself into a relaxed point to then, you know, figure out what's going to happen next. So number 5 is warmth and comfort. Sounds crazy, but when you have a panic attack, you honestly, your whole body goes cold. When I was shaking and I was uncontrollable, the hugest thing is when the ambulances used to turn up. The EMT officers, they basically said that the first thing that, you know, my partner or your parent or whoever is with you should do is actually make sure either the fire is on, a heater is on near you, blanket around you, a big jumper, really keep you warm, hold the person, or rub their back, or just make sure they're warm. That is the hugest thing for them. They said, you know, to keep that person in a warm comfort, brings calming kind of thoughts, or just relaxes their body a little bit, especially when they are in a panic attack mode, or dealing with, you know, extreme anxiety. So if you do see someone, you know, going through that, or if yourself, if you do have that slight mindset of really try to put yourself in that situation, to get a blanket or a jumper, or you know, cuddle up in your partner's arms or something like that. So yeah, warmth and comfort is a huge one, especially when you are having a panic attack as well. So number 6 for me, it's going to sound a little bit crazy, but basically it's a mixture of self-talk and then pretending you're somebody else. So again, it sounds crazy, but let me explain. The first self-talk one is literally, there was certain situations as I kind of was trying to beat my anxiety, when I knew I had to kind of go somewhere that I really didn't feel comfortable, and whether that was in the classroom, to a party, or I had to get up on stage and grab a certificate or something like that. And I wanted to be able to do it. It was that self-talk before it. So I'd literally stand there and be like, right, Amber, and you didn't have to look in the mirror or anything like that, but I was like, it's fine. This is what you're doing. You're going to go in there, nothing's going to happen, everyone's just chilling, you're going to walk in, you're going to feel fine, you're going to grab your certificate, you're going to walk off the stage and everything's great, you're going to go home and have an ice cream, something like that, you know, you're going to go out, hang out with your friends at the beach. So no problem, you're absolutely fine. Next one, you know, it's you know, you're just going to go in the classroom, you sit down, everyone's going to be busy doing their work, easy peasy, get through your work, bell goes, go out for lunch, have fun, eat. So it was that self-talk and that constant thing. Of course you actually didn't believe it. That's the whole reason you got anxiety and you've got all these thoughts going through. So even though you don't believe it, though, subconsciously with your self-talking like that, it does actually calm you down and gives it that tiny bit of strength to be able to just take that next step, to just walk in the door. And sometimes you might only just be able to walk in the door and then walk back out, but that's one step. And that's, I think, the hugest thing with anxiety is even if you do that tiny one little step, that's huge. Next time it might be self-talk. All right, I got to the door, this time I'm actually gonna walk through the door, or this time I'm actually gonna sit down on my chair. If I leave, I don't really care what anyone else says, but I'm going to sit down this time. So it's that constant self-talk. Next thing that sometimes I used to do was pretending I was someone else. So again, it's more on the aspect of, I used to look at myself like I was this weak, kind of sad person. I hated myself, you know, I couldn't even walk anywhere. I was always anxious. I never had, you know, I isolated myself from people. I was depressed. I was unhappy. You know, all these thoughts. So what I did was looked at somebody I idolized, but in a good way. So it could be a family friend, family member, or a teacher or anything. And mine was actually one of my guidance counselors. I honestly looked up to her so much. I mean, she helped me a lot in school, but I actually looked to her because she was so calm and the way she talked was amazing, and she had this really good strength about her. So I used to sometimes actually pretend that she was kind of me, but I had her strength, I had her qualities. So I was kind of like, right. And I acted kind of how she would in that situation. What would she do? So I kind of acted how she was, and it gave me that strength, and it took me out of thinking it was me who was walking into the classroom, but it was actually, you know, my guidance counsellor, or maybe it was your mum or your dad or whoever, that kind of strength. And it just gets you to that point again, that next step, to be able to slowly, you know, build and get rid of that anxiety as well. So that's something that I kind of did to help and get away from your own thoughts. Number 7 is worst case scenario. So again, this sounds a little bit strange, and this may or may not work for some of you, but for me, my mind kind of went, all right, I'm going to picture the worst case scenario that's going to happen. So I have to go into the school assembly and pick up a certificate. What's the worst case scenario? Or I have to walk into the school. What's the worst case scenario is going to happen to me? So I'd literally pick something super extreme, and the likelihood of that extreme thing is probably like 1% of it actually happening. So I'd pick the most extreme, so like, okay, I'm gonna walk into school, there's gonna be 100 people staring at me, laughing, I'm gonna have a massive panic attack in front of them, I'm just gonna be uncontrollable, the ambulance is gonna have to come, it's gonna be embarrassing, everyone's gonna see me, I get taken away, I'm never gonna be able to walk into the school again. So I'd picture that and I'd go, okay, how are you gonna handle that? Obviously I get picked up, it's going to be embarrassing, I'm going to feel horrible, these are all the emotions, this is what I'm going to do, probably won't go to that school again, etc. So I picture this worst one. Now, when I actually went to go into school, now for me personally, some people that would really put them off, but whatever had then happened, and obviously it's going to be anything better than that extreme case scenario, I felt really proud. So like I'd walk in, I go, okay, there's not 100 people here, there's no one really here, or you know, people just kind of walking around, okay, that's cool. And I might walk to the guidance, you know, area or my classroom or towards the classroom, and I'm like, okay, I haven't had a panic attack yet. I might be really nervous or my heart's pounding or something, or I'm sweating, but I haven't had that yet, and no one's watching me. Or I might get to the guidance counselor, I'm like, you didn't have an ambulance come and pick you up. You're actually here. And that was huge for me because I felt really proud. I was like, wow, I got to where I got, and then these things didn't happen, and it made you feel a little bit more confident, and it shows that your anxiety, your mind plays so many tricks on you, and it makes you imagine, you know, so many different scenarios. That's why you don't go do things and you get panicky. So I always used it before, I prepare myself with the worst case scenario the day before or something, so when I went and actually did it and it didn't happen, it calmed me down and made me feel a little bit stronger, like, okay, that's obviously my mind just trying to play tricks and things when I do get that situation, thinking all these things are going to happen. So number 8, that's 9, 8, is grounding. Basically, it's as simple as trying to ground yourself again. When you're going through anxiety or a panic attack or really being anxious in a situation, your whole mind goes off in all sorts of different places and you honestly can't focus. Your brain is not here, and your thoughts aren't here. So the hugest thing is grounding yourself and bringing you back to reality. Where are you now? So it would be a matter of grabbing the nearest door, the nearest object, the floor, the kind of classroom desk, the chair, or anything in your hand, your pen, your stress ball, just something, your t-shirt. It's grounding yourself. So whenever you grab onto that, really feel it, feel the shape. Okay, this is a desk. What does it feel like? It's sharp here, it's wood, and really thinking about what that is. Okay, where am I? I've got a floor, I've got the door, and you're reminding yourself of the situation you're at, the objects that are around you, and it brings you back. But it also makes your mind think of those objects and how it feels and what it looks like and everything to you, which obviously takes your mind off all those anxious thoughts and the panicky thoughts that kind of got you to that anxious state or panic stage in the first place. So that's a huge one. Number 9, where I did in the beginning, is soothing music. So there would be times actually at night that I just have random panic attacks in the night. So a huge thing for me, as well as doing all these other kind of techniques, is for myself personally, is putting on some soothing music. Yes, there was other times I would have things like, you know, sleeping pills with melatonin that help me sleep, but I sometimes want to just avoid that and do more natural ways. So it was putting soothing music. So I would listen to like waves crashing, as I love, listening to the birds chirp or something, or just really calm soothing music, and I'd close my eyes, and again, using the other techniques, so they all kind of mix in together, imagine myself wherever that is, or you know, somewhere kind of peaceful, and it really calmed me down and put me in a more calming and soothing state to be able to get back to sleep or something, and keep away those anxious thoughts and keep that panic attack at bay as well. Number 10 is my last one, which is basically the sniff boxes, which is the kind of more sensory approach. So it's kind of like the grounding, but more in a sensory kind of way. So I love these. I have them in my handbag. I've got kind of 2 small ones here, and I do have a bigger one. You've got to be really mindful of what kind of scents you put in, but you kind of make them yourself. So I do want to do a video, so let me know down below if you'd be keen to see that, because I will do a video on obviously how to make your own. So simple and easy to do at home. But basically I picked smells that for me were really calming, and brought me back to a good place, not a bad place. So I could use it anywhere and out and about, and if I was in a stressful situation or somewhere really anxious, I would literally just open it up, close my eyes and sniff it, and it really just kind of brought me back to reality, or where I was, took away that anxiousness, and kind of just brought me back to here, and yeah, in a sensory way, kind of brought you here and in a calm kind of state again. So they're really amazing, and I have them in my bag and can have them at home, or you know, at work or anything like that. So super great. So yeah, do let me know below if you'd like to see how you can make these really simply. Awesome. So those are the 10 anxiety tips that I had for you guys that kind of really helped me, and so hopefully some of those do kind of relate to you, or maybe ones that you want to try, we've already kind of done before, or even things that you can kind of pass on to people who are going through anxiety or if you have anxiety yourself. So do like, thumbs up, comment, subscribe and share below. Do write any comments of any kind of videos that you guys were really keen to see along kind of the mental health area, so anxiety, depression, eating disorders or anything like that. Check out, obviously if you haven't already, my toxic relationships video, and yeah, I will put up a poll obviously for other videos that you guys are keen to see, but otherwise I will see you for my next video.